Many atheists like Richard Dawkins, Louis Wolpert, and Peter Atkins have said that no evidence of God exists. And many atheists will propose that atheism is a lack of belief in God, and as theists, it is our job to provide them with evidence for God. On the surface, this sounds like it could be a reasonable stance for the atheist to take. So even though it is true that the atheist does not need to provide proof for their unbelief, atheists almost universally presuppose naturalism. Naturalism is the philosophical view that the natural world is all that exists and that all explanations have a natural cause. This is what I call presuppositional naturalism. Most arguments against the evidence for the existence of God can be traced back to presuppositional naturalism. When atheists use this as their starting point, they are using circular reasoning by using naturalism, which excludes the existence of God, to discount evidence for the existence of God. Before we go any further, I want to show you what presuppositional naturalism looks like. In a debate with fellow historian Mike Licona, Bart Ehrman showed clearly how presuppositional naturalism led the skeptic to extremely odd conclusions. In this audio clip, Licona and Ehrman are discussing if any amount of evidence could be used to justify belief in miracles.
So let's suppose, let's just assume just for a moment here that there was no doubt whatsoever Jesus rose from the dead. Would you acknowledge that that's a miracle?
I think that would be the question I would ask. I don't know what you mean by rose from the dead. You mean raised from the dead and never died again?
Yeah, let's say that Jesus is certainly dead, and then he's raised bodily from the dead.
And that he ascended to heaven?
Well, forget that part. We'll just say...
Is he still alive today?
Yes, he's still alive today. He was risen from the dead,
right?
And you could show that. He had been, let's suppose you have a decapitated person, and then you see them come back to life, and they're walking again. Is that a miracle?
What do you mean by miracle?
Is it a divine act?
Is it... I don't know what it is. It's weird.
Or is it beyond
weird
supernatural? Is it a supernatural cause? Let's put it that way.
I don't know what it is. It's weird. I mean, of course, it never happens. But I've never seen a decapitated person. But you're asking if I saw a decapitated person have his head reattached and he lived then for another 2,000 years, what would I call that?
Mm-hmm.
I would call it very, very strange.
Ehrman's presuppositional naturalism has led him to the conclusion that miracles do not exist. That is why when he was presented with a hypothetical situation that one could reasonably conclude is miraculous, he is still unable to allow himself to come to that conclusion. This is the danger of presuppositional naturalism. At this point, I believe that the theist is justified in requiring the atheist to back up the truth claim of naturalism. Unfortunately, the only evidence for naturalism is that the natural world exists, but this evidence is agreed upon by both those who believe in naturalism and theists alike. So evidence for the natural world does not demonstrate the truth of naturalism.